Google. Let's go get them again.
What's going on, fragrance family? Welcome to the Robes OA channel. I'm your host, Mark, and welcome to Samplin Samples Sunday. Love Sundays. We're sampling a brand new fragrance to this nose. It is designer edition. We are going to delve into the brand of Armani and their moneymaker, Acqua Di Gio. All influencers love these. This is money makers for them. If Acqua Di Gio, Le Male release flankers, it's like day of launch. There's a review from an influencer, your favorite influencer, but I'm late to the party already, and this is a 2022 release, this one called Acqua Di Gio EDP Eau de Parfum. So there's already a 2023 release called Parfum, so I'm already late, but this is an official sample from the brand, actually. This is a carded sample. That's rare on my channel, but I think I got this when I purchased a Stronger With You flanker back in the day. And I just never really cranked the sample. I've never really opened it up to smell it. So today's the day. My history with Acqua Di Gio is a rocky one. I'm not an aquatics guy. I'm probably the hardest fragrance YouTuber on aquatics. I hate them. You have to be excellent, not just good. You have to be excellent for me to like. Back in the 90s, you know, I was a Le Male fanboy. So anybody wearing ADG, you were that type of guy. You weren't with the, you were a pretender. So I hated aquatics back then. I still do now. I think it is the one genre that in perfumery that you really need to be great for me to appreciate. There's a lot of genres out there that you know, if you're good, I like you. Aquatics, I can't. Like, if it's a bad aquatic, I really can't. And there's a lot, like 95% of aquatics out there are bad to my nose. So ADG was never a favorite of mine. Essenza, though, this one right here, was a superstar from day one. Right when I smelled it, I'm like, ooh, it was really well blended. It was really well done. And it was a superstar. And then Profumo hit. And this is where the buck stopped with me. I smelt this and it was done. It was a huge flop in my opinion. And I stopped checking out the line of ADG. I stopped. I was like, Senza's good enough. I'm done. And no one can tell me that they smell a really good patchouli and incense in Profumo. If you do, I'm going to take your perfume advice with a huge grain of salt if you tell me that, because it's garbage. So let's delve into this new flanker. This is the year of revenge for the designers for me. I've been really ignoring many designer lines and not blind buying designers as much as I used to. And anybody that's been with me since 2009 on YouTube, you know that I purchased everything, like brands and lines. Like I'm thinking on top of my head here, Armani Code, just staying with Armani. I haven't bought any of their recent stuff. And Acqua Di Gio, like I'm missing 5 flankers, like Spice Bomb, many other lines. I just stopped buying designers. And Acqua Di Gio is part of that crusade that I want to get back into it. I know that they lost me with Profumo, but I'm going to give them a try here and discover this one. Even the bottle here kind of looks like the bottle of Essenza, so I'm having hope. Maybe it'll be a close cousin of Essenza. Fingers crossed. Probably not. But let's crack this sample open. Let's talk about it. Let's delve into it. Let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. Release date was back in 2022, so it's still around. It's not discontinued yet from Armani. They love to discontinue their flankers, so that one is probably close to a chopping block now. Concentrations Eau de Parfum, of course, it's right on the bottle. The nose behind this is, of course, the one that started it all, Mr. Alberto Marias. His resume speaks for itself. Huge resume. He's done some good stuff and some flops. More flops than good, but he is an all-star perfumier. I really do appreciate some Marias releases. Major notes to my nose. This fragrance is mainly aquatic, so you're gonna have some aquatic notes and you're gonna have some mineral notes, which I really like because Essenza has that feeling. It really helps the aquatic note to be so not so synthetic and bad to me, and mineral notes really amps up the imagery to me. and vetiver in the back end of this. I'm not saying vetiver is a huge, you're not going to get a huge wallop of it, but it is a factor in the back end of this release. So let's get into sniffing. We can get rid of the card, and let's finish off the sample, and that will remind me, it's on fumes, of the introduction of this fragrance. And it is my scent of the day today, so I am wearing it as my scent of the day, but man, this introduction, really good. And you weren't expecting that from me maybe, but from first sniff, ADG Eau de Parfum smells like an Acqua Di Gio scent. It's not falling too far off from the original Eau de Toilette tree. On that note, this opening is different from the Eau de Toilette, just different enough for me to appreciate it. It kind of did the same trick as Essenza did, lightens things up, and it's really, really good. It's almost as good as Essenza. I don't think it's on that platform yet, but it's close enough that it's Essenza good. This is exactly what a marine type scent should smell like in the designer realm. I'm really digging this introduction. Really well done from Armani. Now, I'm not kidding myself. This is not the best aquatic in the game. It won't beat out some of the best in the game, like a James Healy Sel Marin. If you like aquatics and you haven't gotten into niche, Sel Marin from Healy, best aquatic hands down. There's quite a few, like a good handful of good aquatics in the niche realm, but it definitely, this one right here has a grip on what a marine-like scent should smell like in the designer realm. It is a higher echelon. There's only a little bit of marine-like notes or marine-like designer releases that grabbed my attention. Like Bulgari's Aqua put on the original, none of the flankers, is on that pedestal of one of the best aquatics in the designer realm. Now, I love when Armani can hit one out of the park, and I do want to root for them. They're a brand that try to be like Hermes, Chanel, Dior. Those are the three staples in the designer realm. That's the upper echelon lines. They're expensive, but they're good. Armani's expensive like them, but not as good. They really flop on a lot of fragrances. They produce a lot of flops, and they're producing a lot of stuff that's like second tier and third tier. But when they hit, they hit. And when they hit, I really like that they hit. It's nice to see that they release a really good flanker here for Acqua Di Gio, because they were due for one, and this one is so good. So the scent starts off with a really good green mandarin citrus note. It's very short-lived, but just enough to give the scent some oomph, some uplifting citrus appeal. It gives it a little bit of sparkle. It makes me think of the peel of the citrus and the rind. So it's very 3D. I was hoping for more of it, but it's not a knock on it. It really is really nice, but it really does die down quite quickly. Now, immediately right after that, you get hit with that mineral aquatic Acqua Di Gio kind of melange, where it makes you think, okay, this is an Acqua Di Gio release, a flanker. The mineral pieces and the watery pieces are what I come to expect from ADG. Both are excellent. I think the mineral note really makes this. Mineral note is probably the best standout, the big standout on this, but the aquatic is also well done, but the mineral quality really brings you seaside. I really enjoyed that piece in here, and it is a base note, but you smell it from the first sniff right down to the end of the fragrance. It really is beautiful. The aquatic tinge in here has its ups and downs. At times on some wearings, and this little sample gave me 3 wearings, 2.5 we'll say. Today it was on fumes, but it has the aquatic tinge at times. Was really good with that mineral note, and they played really well, and it really felt very vivid, but at times it got a little synthetic, and some of these aquatics do that. You can get watery effects like a Polo Blue Eau de Toilette vibe in this release, and what that does, it kind of gives you like a cucumber green watery effect. And I was getting a little bit of that in this release. And I was also getting a CK1 Summer 2008 watery effect, where they utilized a watermelon watery effect in CK1 Summer, which is synthetic, but still enjoyable. But it kind of brought down the, how would I say, the richness of this fragrance. It brought it down, like a lot of it surrounding that was really nicely blended and high quality, and that brought down the quality of the fragrance a little bit. It's fine, but it's something to mention in a fragrance review as it comes off synthetic, but it's a really small knock on a great opening because everything else is so well done. Now, this opening reminded me a tad of my little baby here, Senza, and how that one started off. And when I first smelled that one, I was blown away. I was like, this is really well done by Armani, and this is where I am with this one. I have to give it to Maurice here, and this introduction is exactly what I want from an Acqua Di Gio flanker. It's ozonic, it's watery, it's green, it's got some aromatics, it's got some herbs, but the main player is that watery mineral effect, which is what I want from this type of fragrance, and they nailed it. Now that we talked about the backbone of this fragrance, the aquatic, the minerals, and all that, and the citruses, of course, now that they died off, what are you gonna get? Well, all of this is met with aromatics, and you're getting a three-headed monster. Now, you're missing the jasmine in this mid, which it's leaving a void, but it is well replaced. You get aromatics of sage, lavender, and geranium. They all play a part in Acqua Di Gio EDP and will be stronger within the mid part of this fragrance, and of course will carry along into the dry down. I felt the sage and the geranium have bigger roles here in this scent than the actual lavender. And the lavender is almost a nothingness, but it's there. But some of these florals, of course, replacing that original jasmine bulk that you'd get in the Eau de Toilette and filling that void really, really well. I wasn't missing that at all from the original Eau de Toilette. Now, into the mid, deeper dry down, the scent continues to have its backbone of the mineral aquatic tones with the aromatics joining the crowd. Now you get an excellent, and I mean, like, I want to emphasize, excellent vetiver note here. Now, it's a secondary note. It's not a huge factor, but it is I would say how could I say, it's the back end of the fragrance. It's a clean vetiver, so don't expect much rootiness, earthiness here. Think like a Tom Ford gray vetiver, that kind of clean vetiver, very clean. And it's well disguised in this fragrance because the watery aspects really take over. So the vetiver is in the back end of it. But you know what it is? It's fully balanced, and it really shines in the back end of the Eau de Parfum here. If you really look for it, you'll see how much of an impact this note really has on the back end of this scent and how good of a quality it is. It did remind me of that gray vetiver from Tom Ford, which is huge kudos to Armani. Like, that gray vetiver is probably one of the best clean vetivers in the designer realm. Now, there's some subtle woody tendencies here, and it turns very much green, of course, with the notes that you see listed. You're gonna get like a green aquatic tinge here, and you do get it in this release. Some herbal tendencies a little bit here in the mid, really kind of bulking because, again, you're losing some of the original notes from the Eau de Toilette. The mineral aspect, though, like I said in the introduction, almost amplifies a little bit more in the back end, and it's absolutely gorgeous. He really carries that aquatic tinge and continues to push itself in the back end. Patchouli is listed in the note breakdown just like it is in Profumo, and I was looking at that and I was like, oh, here it comes. And it's a non-factor. The patchouli is a non-factor, just like it's a non-factor in Profumo. It's probably the same shitty patchouli note that everybody smells in Profumo that I don't. There's no earthiness, there's no greenness here as far as a patchouli note goes. Vetiver as the back end is the note that has more emphasis in this release than the patchouli. So overall, the blend from Maurice is top notch here. Some of his best work for a freshie in recent times. I haven't checked out, he releases like 100 fragrances a year, so I can't check out all his work, but it's crisp, it's watery, it's refreshing, it's well balanced, it's well executed. It's what a classy Armani Acqua Di Gio release should be. And you know, I haven't said this in a very long time. It is worth the price tag that Armani is actually asking you. Oh, dare I say that? Yes, it is actually worth. And get it before it gets discontinued. They love discontinuing their EDG flankers, so it's coming up. You'll see this thing's gonna get axed. So some reviews, and I just want to poo-poo this, is some reviews do state that this scent wears very heavy, and I thought that was really weird to say. I'm not sure if they were looking at the EDP on the name and go, oh, this is a heavy fragrance, and they got confused. This is not heavy at all. It's clean. It's perfect. Like, yeah, it's not the most thin fragrance, but it's very minimalistic. The heavier notes are very much muted. They really want to emphasize the watery aspect. So I felt like it was just perfect as far as the build goes. It's not the lightest fragrance in the game, but it's definitely not heavy. Definitely not even close to heavy. So beyond the watery aspect, smelling kind of polo bluish and CK1 summerish at times. This scent overall gets a great review from me. Absolutely loved it. So now let's get into seasons, day, night, versatility, and performance. Seasons. This is a year-round fragrance. No doubt about it. It has summer and spring written all over it, and even the start of fall, but I can wear it every season. It is your stereotypical Swiss Army knife fragrance. We all need one of these. So if you're watching this and you're a noob and you're like, you need a Swiss Army knife, like that's the first fragrance you should be getting, is a Swiss Army knife type of fragrance. One that you can wear dress up, dress down, any season. You wear it with the tux, cargo shorts. You can wear it out for a wedding. You can wear it in the office. You can wear it at school. It is it's just so well-rounded. It has everything you need in a fragrance, and you need at least one or two of these in your collection. If you're starting it off, you need to get this type of fragrance first. And this would be on my short list of Swiss Army knife fragrances that have been released in the past couple of years. This would be, the quality is there. You're not going to regret paying the money for it. Even if it does get discontinued, now you're going to make more money selling it if you have to sell it, by the way. So day or night use, daily mostly. This is like a office wear, like this is office safe. Mostly a daily wear, but you can wear this at night, no problem. Again, you're going to get something a little more, you know, I would say a little more exciting for nighttime use. Personally, that's what I would do. Versatility, huge, through the roof. Probably one of the better scores that I'm going to give for versatility. This thing is versatile. Performance. The performance is very good. Now everybody likes to see, you know, concentration, EDP. They're thinking, you know, this thing's going to blow things out of the park. No, but it is, again, with that whole well-roundedness of a fragrance, this is well-rounded. Longevity, 7 to 9 hours. You know, this kind of scent, like a thinner scent, you would expect poor longevity. No, 7 to 9 hours. And that's good. You don't need 12 plus hours on all fragrances. This one works your work day, basically. Projection, fairly average. And again, it's in that scope of it's just there and it's really good in everything it does. It doesn't really stand out in certain aspects, but it's one of those Swiss Army knives, and that's where it is. So my final thoughts are that Armani and Maurice hit this one out of the park. After the failure of Profumo, I didn't know where this line was going to be going. They discontinued Essenza. I was like, oh, Armani doing Armani things. And it just isn't a brand for me personally. I never really liked Armani. I never really clung on to Armani Code or Stronger With You or Acqua Di Gio or even their Privé line. They have some excellent ones in their Privé line, but I never really blended well with Armani. I don't know. I feel like they're too expensive for what they get, but this is a very solid piece. I was worried where this line was going to go, but this one is super versatile. It's well balanced. It hits all the ways I want an aquatic designer fragrance to hit. It just was a spectacular release from Armani, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but it is. To all my old heads out there, if you're a fan of Acqua Di Gio Essenza and you're trying to conserve this juice and you want to get something else, you are going to love this release. It's minimalistic like I want it to be, and with my limited testing, it isn't better than my beloved Essenza. It's not. Going head to head, no. But it will respectably take its spot as one of the best ADG flankers on the market that's actually available now, which you don't want to go on eBay and pay $200-300 for Essenza. This is a suitable replacement, respectable replacement, I feel personally, for that same kind of DNA. This is just a classic case of a solid designer, period. They just hit it exactly where I want. Like when I'm picturing Acqua Di Gio and the old 90s release, and you're releasing a 2020s flanker, and you kind of want to go with the same DNA but make it a little more modern, this is exactly what I picture. And it hit every single spot. It just didn't, you know, it was lacking in certain things, but I'm just nitpicking now. That's basically it. So if I had to give it a score, I don't think I've given a designer release a score like this in recent times. I'm gonna give it a 9 bottles out of 10. This is a very solid release from Armani. Like, this is making me doubt, okay, should I go back and smell some of these older ADG releases? Maybe I will. Now that I've heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Did you like this fragrance just as much as I did? I'd like to see the comments on this release. I feel like this one came out and it was kind of okay. Like, I don't think it had the fanfare as a Profumo, Profondo, and this new perfume one. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. As always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.